Hey guys, welcome to J Plays. I am Iceman, and this is my latest devblog in my work on Nanatama Chronicle of Dungeon Maker, or as I like to call it, Dungeon Maker 3 for the Sony PSP. This is the first update in quite some time, but I have not been, the project has not been on hold for this amount of time. I'll start some pause for a sec. So there's been quite a lot of work going on in the project since the last devblog. I think the last devblog was a couple of months ago. But I've certainly been still working on the project in this time. Now, the reasoning that I've got two screens up, because there has been a massive development on this project. So, if you remember in many of my previous devblogs, I was talking about wanting to, have variable width fonts in the game. So I finally got some assistance in the form of a user by the name of Warchafter, I think that is his username. Got in touch with me and gave me, as he did some extensive work on creating a patch for the game, which now sets up variable width fonts. Now, it's with some caveats. So currently it only really doesn't, it's got, as far as the hex code is concerned, it now has full support for the full lowercase letters, but all the lowercase letters aren't actually implemented in game yet because we haven't put in a new font table image file thingy. So still the lowercase letters that were not supported in the original are still not present in this one. So if I was to try to put in lowercase entries for those particular letters, we'd still get capital letters. So for the time being, the project's still going full capitals on everything. But beyond that, one of the biggest benefits that's come now is that I now have access to double the width on every text entry in the game. Again, this is with some caveats as well. It only works, it's only currently implemented for some of the display functions, not all of them. So I'm going to go through bit by bit on what I've been working on over the last couple of months since I got those patch files from Warchafter. It's taken me a very long time to go through all the menus and everything that I could update. I've updated. Okay, so I have to bring up a little text file on my side so I can keep track of all the things that's been done. So firstly, as I said, variable width fonts has been implemented, so all text entries now have double the capacity, but still for now limited to capital letters only. So the first thing I'll take you through, because there's quite a lot of menu things related that I want to showcase the differences in how they look. Okay, so if we go to, this is how you would see the game in its current form. Okay, this is how it's been looking in all the previous updates. Now this, if we look in the other one, is exactly the same. Now one of the main differences we're going to see, so on my one on the right, you can see as I'm going around, firstly, all the places now have slightly more bigger text fonts. Now, one of the limitations I've got here, so the one on the right is the updated one, the one on the left is what you've been seeing before. So some things have longer lengths, but the thing is that, if you can see my mouse cursor, the way it centers the text currently goes off screen, so I couldn't do full lengths in this because they would be chopped off screen. Now let's look at the same thing. So let's go to all the different locations around town. If I do that same thing in here, so as you can see, there's some definite improvements there. Okay, first thing I'll take you through is the monster file. Now, straight away in this menu system, we can actually, before I go into that, you can see some enhancements with the menu. So I'll try and bring this up on this side. And straight away, you can see the difference between the two. On the left, you can see like magic is MG in comparison to the expanded version where it's magic. Item is now items. Stats is now status. AI is the same. R file, I could have had that the full length, but it went so far off screen, it was going off into this. So until we've got lowercase support, and preferably what I'd really want is the original fonts from the previous games to be in there, because that would give me a lot more space on screen to work with. But for now, we got that. And now, if you're going into the system menu, that now is named as it is in the previous games. So I had it in this translation up till now. If you see on the left, it was down as data, but in Dungeon Maker 1 and 2, it was called system. So that's a definite improvement. If we go into, I'll just go through each of the menus actually. So if we go into magic, let's do that on this one. Okay, so if you look at the two, you can see the difference straight away. So let's go thunder. And as you see, the one on the left, you've got text overlapping into the other line where attack is sort of branching off into the other one. And this one, we've got the full word thunder in firstly, and full, like text that fills up the thing with not too much overlapping going on. And when there is, I think there's small little cases here and there. And what I've done a little hyphen where it goes, as you can see on like these ones. But now you're getting a lot more flavor text that's appearing in the actual magic descriptions. We'd look through that on this other thing. If we go into the second one. And then the next one, and that's back to the same one again. So as you can see, now all the spells that the player has access to now go properly updated. If we want to go into the ones for our other abilities, other orb characters, as you can see, all of them now have text that flows properly within the boxes, and in most cases we have the full name of the spell. Compared to over here, where you got some overlapping and shortening of words. Now, there is still some shortening of words I've had to do. I've had no choice in the matter, but like majority of them now are vastly better. So like here's the ones for Rose. So on the right, you can see the new lengths. Again, I was limited to how much I could actually fit within the lengths. So now, I still had to abbreviate a little bit, but it is still way better than what it was before. Here's the same thing on that side of the screen. Going over to AoE's abilities. Got those two. If we go back to the player. So that's all the magic spells. Okay, let's go items. Okay, so now rather than bag, as you can see on the left, it says item bag, which is what the proper thing of it should be. You can see slight differences in the tooltip text down the bottom right. It's still for the buttons and things, they're going with abbreviated words. Hopefully once we get lowercase support, then that'll be looking better for the menu, like the button prompts and stuff like that. But anyways, so item bag is there. EQ is now whip. Root's the same. Armor reinforcement, armor and enhancement materials, that's still the same. Building materials slightly updated. Still, it's abbreviated. There's a lot of things where I've still had to go abbreviated because even with double the lengths, it still was nowhere near enough text to use. So it's going to require some much more technical, enhancements, like changing a pointer addresses, if you even know what I'm talking about, to provide that kind of full enhancement. Food is now actually, rather than FD, food, like, you know, the actual word food, and these ones are the same. I think the item bag itself is the same, equipment is the same, I think. That's one thing I could probably go in and actually probably enhance again. Just trying to think. Oh, food. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, there's heaps of things actually. So if we go into the different routes that you can equip, now we've got much more bigger words that are used, proper filling of the boxes, in some cases slightly more text that you can see, gives you a little bit more background of what they do. If we go in here, as you can see, like the mole shield is like that in this one, and this one it's like that. Even having that is such a big improvement. It provides so much more polish to this thing. Still, like, you know, a lot of ways to go, but like even these enhancements are like adding like big differences. Now in the root materials, unfortunately, it's still like I'm limited firstly by the space of how far I can go to the right, and in most cases it's still, even with the amount of letters, it's just not enough. But at least you've got proper formatting now for all of the entries. As you can see. Like, this has taken an absolute mountain of time to do. So like I said, I have not been sitting around just doing other stuff. I've been working on this constantly since I gained these expansions. But as you can see, there's just so much more fuller entries. As you can see, it is like vastly improved. If we go into armor reinforcement materials, same thing. As you can see, massive, massive, massive improvement. If we go into food, now some things have the full names there, so they're not even abbreviated at all. I will say most things are still abbreviated, but they occasionally, like here and there, there's like, firstly, descriptions that give you a much better sense of what the word is, like fresh VG rather than just veg. So, you know, fresh vegetables. And an actual proper description. Wheat and herbs are now their proper full-length words. And the rest are now like properly formatted, as you can see. I think it's like an absolutely massive improvement. Just from like a readability standpoint, it's just like so much easier to go into. Next is smithing materials. Again, I'm only like I've got severe limitations on like the lengths of crossways I can go for now until we've got like lowercase support, or hopefully better yet the text from the original games. I really hope I get those, just for the amount of space that it'll buy me. As you can see, just huge improvement. Huge. Key items is another one. So in some cases, quite a few of these have now got the full lengths. I wasn't as limited lengthwise. I still limited a little bit, but it's vastly improved, as you can see here. Now you'll be able to see a lot more of your key items when you get them to proper lengths that aren't like abbreviated. Well, some things are abbreviated still, but like with proper lengths on the side. Whoops. And having these new links enabled me to like do things like this, as you can see with the items I've got highlighted at the moment. Now, rather than just like f.k, w.k, at least we have names for the keys that properly differentiate them. So there's like, you know, proper wording there. Really, at least abbreviations that give more of a sense of what they actually are. Okay, what next? I don't think I've... Oh yeah, I've done some changes here too. Oh, 1 minute. Just give me a sec. My computer's hard drive's going. Okay, there we go. Let's go into the status screen. So here I can show you one of the other things I worked on. So this had some big improvements. So this is to the skills that you get on your character and the other characters as well. So I've done all of them, some abbreviations still, but now here is one of the places where I was limited in what I could do. So currently the text inserter only really works when there's... Now this is a bit more technical info, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's all good. But basically in the hex code, so as long as there's like a double byte break for length, it works fine. But when there's a single byte, which this game uses in certain things, then that doesn't work with the inserter at the moment. So like it'll just go way over it and destroy it. So I have to be very careful with those ones. But I was still able to do at least the names of the skills. So the descriptions are still the same as they were, as you're going to see on both. But the names of the skills is improved. As you can see, like heaps of things have much better wording. As you can see. These ones I'm still leveling up that skill at the moment, so the work in progress. These ones I couldn't do very much with, but still there's some improvements. Like even having mark rather than MRK, warp rather than WRP, the actual word return rather than RTRN is this like such a big improvement. Okay, and I've shown you that. If you go into the orb characters, these ones not so much in the way of changes there. Still some minor improvements. As you see, like as we go through, like some things are massively improved. Not everything, but like some things. the next one, we go over to Leo. Over to Rose. Then Bernard. See, just much more fuller, like skill names and stuff. Over to Aoi. Rookie. The Rookie? No, Griff. Oh, it was a Rookie. Yeah, so Rookie. As you can see, not everything, but like, you know, I'm doing what I can. Griff was the next one. Wyvern was the next one. Phantom was the next one. Not much done there, a little bit. Here's one big one, like TR is now changed to change. The actual translation is transform, but like first I think I didn't have enough letters to do transform, even with the expansion. But slightly fuller like descriptions and things. And that is for the stat screen. Next we go into the R file screen. Alright, so once again, so expansions in the wording. So M file now is changed to monster file in full lettering. Gear file is now changed to equipment file. Quests is now changed to quests. Rec is changed to record. JL is changed to journal. TT is actually title. Rule BK is now rulebook, and NT is changed to notes. Just even that just gives you more of a sense of exactly what you're going into rather than dealing with abbreviations. Now, in here is another one of the massive ones that's seen some big improvements. Still some abbreviations, but it's still massively better than what it was. If we go into the Beast menu, it's actually better if I probably go into these descriptions. Okay, see, look at this. Big changes. Much more proper filling names. Where were we? We were up to... Give me a sec. So, Black Bat. There we go. Okay, so look at that. Like, such a massive improvement. Proper formatting. I mean, I did kind of format it in the first place. I tried to as best I could, but, like CC changed to Cave Cat, or Cave CT. If we go into Slime, it's a similar kind of thing. Whoops. As you can see, proper formatting now. Had to use hyphens in some cases because it just wouldn't have fit otherwise. So in some cases the text is very similar. In other ways, in others it's expanded big time because of the extra, having the extra lengths, having proper formatting. I now have the option to like do breakpoints. Well, not breakpoints. To line breaks, so I can tell it to go to a new line in a line of of entry. I should mention too, one of the biggest changes with switching over to this new variable width system is now no longer am I primarily doing all my changes in Crystal Tile 2, like directly into hex code. Now it's all in text files with a proper like text parser that actually checks the lengths of strings like that I'm like text that I'm going to be putting in to ensure that I don't go past the maximum lengths of them. So it's more I can just type it out in a text file. If it's too long, it just tells me, and it doesn't successfully insert it. In the case of where there's double breaks. Anyway, I've shown you that one. I'll show you a couple more. Let's go demi-humans. Alright. As you can see here, like, some of these have much better, like this one, for example, muscle goblin now, a goblin with thick muscles from training, rather than just muscle goblin, And you notice too on the side, when you're seeing all the items that there is, how their links are increased as well, so you're getting much better descriptions for the different drops that you've found that dropped from that particular monster. And if we lastly go over to humanoid, I'm not going to go through all of them, but we go over to humanoid. Like, I'm just speeding through it, but like, this is another one where I was like limited in like, like how long I could do it. Oh, I need to fix that one. It was this was just such time-consuming work. This took ages and ages and ages. It took like whole nights just to get through categories, single categories of monsters. It takes a long time, a lot of testing to get right. Anyways, that gives you some idea of the monster file. If we go equipment file, which was formerly the, gear file. Okay, so look at this. So straight away, if we go into daggers, again we got the bigger lengths. So this one, I was limited to 2 lines, so I had to be very careful in where I did all the, like how long things went, because having the lengths, I could actually go like well and truly past this line. I could go all the way down here, but the game itself has inbuilt like checks so that if the text flows a little bit too far down this way, then it kind of detects it and then starts bugging up. So there's like daggers, for example. I won't show you. I won't go through everything because we'd be sitting here all night if I go through everything. But if we go bows, for example, and there's like heaps more. If we go quests, this is another one where I couldn't do very much. So this one had the same issue as in the stat screen. So where the names of the quests had like double break blocks, but then any of the quests, see where it says like BTY, defeat Pond H or Pond Harry at Pond, things like that had single byte breaks. So that one doesn't work with the parser at the moment, so I can't change these yet. Believe me, the second that is implemented with the the text parser thingy, text inserter thingy, then these will be done too. But I've done at least the names of them, so now the names of them give at least a better indication of what they're actually about. So for example, like PND space gob is now pond gob. You know, MB slime is now marble slim, you know, a little bit more closer to what the actual word is. In some cases, oops, gone too far. In some cases, we've got the whole one in there. Not too many though, only a couple. But if you see, like, even these ones, even just having the, like, more to play with. Like, for example, this one, Mirror Stone, now gives a, like, you know, almost the full wording. Dried Fruit is like the full word now, so not abbreviated at all. I think Opal Ring somewhere else is like the proper full word Opal Ring. Four Leaf is now, you know, where before it was like fr.lr is now proper like four leaf. So these are like, you know, big enhancements that improve the experience. The record screen still abbreviated. That's the next one. But I think it's better. So I've tried to change what I can. So col is now collected, which is what it should be. We've got title in its full length wording, recip rather than RCP for, you know, recipes that you've currently unlocked. Quest is now quests. I haven't changed that because if I did any more, it would be going into the number on the side there. But once we have lowercase support and hopefully the other font from the original games, I'm hoping, this will be proper wording. Done, like that's the full length. I probably could change permit to having an I in there. I probably could do that. But then again, if I do that, then no, I can't do that actually, because it'll go into, as you can see, like the one on the right has less space available than the one on the left, because of like the way that the spacing works with the variable width fonts and things. So I can't add the I, because if I do, it'll be too close to the S. Now, the monsters, I've got slightly, I had more, for every like one letter I could do 3. Well, not every single letter, but like if something was like one byte, I could use 3. It gives me like 1 extra byte on top of the length. So I had 1, so that becomes 3. If it was 2, it would be 5. That kind of thing. So we've got all these different entries now have abbreviations at least that better indicate what they are. In some cases, I've changed the letter entirely because the letter that I had for them didn't properly indicate the type of monster that it was indicating. Like, let me see. W is actually supposed to be slimes, so the W is not correct. T is supposed to be meta, so that's changed entirely. Stuff like that. The stuff on the right, slight improvements, slight length improvements, as you can see, all the ones down there. Still abbreviated, but it's just like better. Like M is med now, so I think med is a lot more like readable than M. Like you'd be like M what? But med, you'd be like, oh, med could be like medical, you know? So things like that, that's an improvement. Okay, journal screen, there's been improvements in here too. This one's had some big expansions. Even just with what we see right there, okay? So in the original journal, like the one you would have played in my previous patches, this entry would have been just got goo, which is like the got title. Now it actually says the proper wording, got title gourmet, rather than goo. And I'll show you the titles in a sec too. As we see, as we go back in the days, you know, stuff like, oh, wait a minute. There we go. So look at the improvements. Now, the problem I have here is limitations of like how far to the right I can go. Again, if I get the lowercase support and preferably the original games font, then we can do full lengths in here. because I've got the full, like with these, I can go as far as I want. So it's just how far to the right I can go that's limiting what I can do. But so already this is a vast improvement over what it was before. So rather than bet and then the abbreviated name, now it's defeated enemy name. Learned recipe is now not just learned, it's learned recipe. Stuff like that, you know? If we complete a quest, now it says, firstly, accepted quest rather than got quest. And if we complete a quest, it says finish quest rather than completed. All these things like just add like some quality of life improvements that make this a much more readable and visually more better kind of experience. In my opinion, of course. But to me, like, I look at that and I'm like, that is so much better. So some areas are better than others. Like the record screen still isn't that great, but I think the journal screen is like way better than what it was. Alright, next up we'll do titles. So titles, I think you had it in the previous games as well. I think, yeah, I'm pretty damn sure you do. Yeah, yes, you did actually. But I think you had to go through different screens in order to... You had to go like into the status screen, player, and then... You couldn't even just do title. You just had to kind of go through the screens and then you'd kind of see the titles you've unlocked. Whereas in Nanatama, it has an actual, you know, thing in R file that, you know, you can look up all the titles you've got. Anyway, so all the titles have had broad changes done. In most cases, we've now got the proper wording. And there's one thing here I've made a change, and I'll show you where it actually ties into. So here we go. Now, again, I've got the same problem as with the earlier sections. So the names of them I can change because it's like double byte block for the name. But then any of the text you see on the right is like single byte breaks between them. So I can't do those because of the parser thingy. But even just having the names better match what the name of the actual title is. Yes, there's still some abbreviations, but the abbreviations are way better than what they were before. Like DGN.MKR is much better than D.M, in my opinion. And if you see this one here, so where it says get and on the right it says load. So one aspect that's with this game specifically and wasn't in the other games is that there's multiple cases of where the game shares the same name across many different things. Like, if I go back to the ring screen, you see, now remember that you saw load. If I go back into the equipment file and go into rings, just give me a sec to find it. Where are you? There you are, right down there. Just give me a sec too while I'm talking. Yep, cool. I was just checking OBS to make sure all the settings were right. Didn't want to go to all the trouble of recording this devblog and then find out, you know, that wasn't recording the microphone. Anyways, so do you see how that's load? Because this game shares the same name across multiple different things, even though the actual translation is different depending on what it's supposed to be. So the ring is supposed to be called Lord Ring, like Lord. So, but you saw there's a title with that same name. That title name is supposed to be Lord. Now you'll be thinking, well, those will then just call it Lord. But if we go into the system menu, we have this entry here, load. That is also shared across this, it's linked to the same name. So if I change that to Lord, then in here it's called Lord. Even though that's the accurate name for the title and the ring, it's not the accurate name for the menu, like the system load entry. So having to choose the lesser of two evils, I've had to go load. You know, at least so that makes sense. So that's a unique Nanatama thing. It wasn't in Dungeon Maker 2 or 1, just in this game. And it's across many different items where the name of something is shared across multiple entries. Like it links to many different places. So you change it in one and changes it in all the other. For example, there's like quest names and item names and stuff like that, which are all linked to the same one. Change one, you change all the instances of where it references that name, like where it links to that memory address, because they're all linking to the same place. So the only way I can think of fixing it is like changing the pointer address, if you know programming at all, like changing where it's pointing to, just for that one thing. I don't even know if that's doable, but like that would be the way. Rulebook anyway is the next thing. Again, this had the same issue, so I was limited in what I could do. That's my keyboard. Can't anymore. Oh, there we go. Okay, so again, I've had the same issue. So it's double bytes with the names of the rulebook entries, but then single byte blocks with the actual text that goes within the rulebook entries. So unfortunately, I'm not able to change the text in here yet, but I can change the names at least. So in the rulebook, now we've got some things which are better. Some things I'm still limited. Now, do you remember remember what I said before? So if there's for every like block of text I've got, it gives me like 1 byte extra. So if something is 1, I get 3. So if you see here on the left where there's the T, I originally had only 1 byte to play with, which in variable width fonts gives me 2, and then 1 extra, so 3. Which now you know the word town is like 4 letters, but unfortunately I've only got 3 maximized that I can use. So again, we have to go with an abbreviation. For some things, I've tried to just stay within the box itself, where I had enough letters that I could go past it. But I'm just wanting to keep the formatting looking at least half decent. So you're gonna have things like that. But if we go into the things, now the names better match what they're supposed to be indicating. So if I go into basics, and here we got a little bit flow outside of it. As you see, this text I can't change. This is the single byte stuff. So this is going to be the same even in this new version. Give me time though. Like once the bugs in the inserter are fixed, I'm going to go in and do all this stuff as well. This is extremely time-consuming stuff though. Like stuff where you wouldn't see me, it would look like I'm not working on the project for a long amount of time, when in actual fact, like doing this stuff can take big amounts of time. And I've got like a day job and everything, so like, you know, trying to find time for this outside of everything else. Oh my god. Wouldn't do this if I wasn't passionate about the project. Trust me. Hence why I'm doing like these kind of dev blogs and stuff. Anyways, as you can see, the names are greatly expanded on what they were before. So some things more than others. You know, like we go into Ruins Dungeon. These names are now at least a little bit more filling. As you can see, there's a bit of an overflow there. We have the lowercase support, that'll fix that. But as you can see, the names are a lot better. And that flows through to everything else in the rulebook as well. Not going to go through everything. I don't want to bore you going through all that stuff. If we go into the notes section, it's very similar. Exact same thing. Double bytes for the names of the note entries. Single bytes for the text that you see on the right there. So that's not changed. So this stuff, I've just changed the names. That's it. As you can see, now much more fitting, just like at least names for what they're indicating. What else? Let me think. As I said, system, this stuff is different to the one before, linking in with what I was talking about before with the linked names. But at least sav is now save, get is now load, erase is now delete, pass is now password. And slight differences in the little tooltips text, as you see down here in the bottom bottom right corner of the screen. Beyond that, it's the same. Okay, so that's the main menus in the town section. I've done some slight improvements to some of the menus in some places. So, Watch After did some improvements to the menu stuff. So in some places you'll see the word back rather than BK, not in all places. In some cases the town menu stuff that you see in the thing is improved, though it's not accurate to what it should be, so that still needs some improvement. So like, it shouldn't be like sell bomb, it should be like, you know, sell building material, or at least sell BM or something like that. Here it's got buy magic, it should actually be buy potions, you know. Anyway, but you know, I appreciate all the work done. I'm not meaning anything negative like anyone's way. I'm just saying what's changed. I've done some changes here. These two were already like this. I've now improved these ones. I've changed this to actually be request, because that's what you're doing. You're making a request of the blacksmith to make you a piece of armor or a weapon. As you see here, you can see the changes. Now the top two, I think these ones were already done by Watch After. I just did request. I improved that. But it's still way better than it was before. Just gonna quickly go into the dungeon and come straight back. Oh, actually, so this is changed too. Now I've let some overflow happen just so that you get a proper naming. So rather than go DG, it's like go dungeon, go ruins, go dim door. Dim door is like dimension door. That one I was limited in space, both across ways and with the amount of letters I had to play with. So if you remember what I said before, for every 1 byte I get 2 plus 1. So door is 4. That gives me 9 that I can play with. Dimension door is much bigger than 9 letters, so you know, dim door is like about as good as I can do. I'll go to the dungeon briefly, or the ruins, just so I can come back and show you the differences in the player's home thing. I'll show you the dungeon stuff too. Not as much changes there, because like I'd already done all the menus and things. Well, there is some improvements though, and I'll go through that. But at the end of the day, now, let me just do the same thing on the other screen. Give me a sec. That may not work. Oh, it's the same across both. Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, at least I can do that. I've got one set up to use my controller and the other one set up to use the keyboard. Okay. Let's see the difference. Okay, so now when you're going to the player's place, you know, their home. Firstly, it says rulebook rather than rule BK. Mailbox is the same. ST, as on the left, is now changed to storage. DM is now changed to meal. It should be like daily meal, but I don't have enough letters to play with. RS is now changed to sleep. That's to match the naming in the other games. And exit to exit. And if you go into the, I think I haven't changed, I just changed those things. But even that is just a little bit more of a quality of life improvement. And that's it for the town. Let's show you the dungeon stuff now. Let me just bring that up on this side. Actually, I probably should have gone to the dungeon, because that's where I can show you the biggest amount of different things. Let's see if there's any differences here. Most of it I've already told you. The only real change you can probably see at the moment, other than what I've already gone through, I mean about magic and all these other things. Options is now changed from OPTNS to actual word options. One thing that's negative, if the game ever asks you a yes or no or okay or okay or no, then the cursor's off a little bit. So that's one of the few little negatives. But these are things that can be fixed in time. And compared to like all the quality of life improvements that you're getting on top of it, having some slight differences in with like layout issues with little minor things is a very small little thing. Alright. Now, if we take our weapon out, looks the same. Okay, cool. Now if I go that on this one, see some very slight issues there. It's mainly, now that I'm looking at it side by side, now I see what the issue is. It's not where the text is, it's because of like the positioning. Yeah. So now there's some slight issues with, because it's rather than MG, it's now the whole word magic. Now it overlaps with the triangle. So it just means that probably needs to be moved up, if that can even be done. I don't know if it can be done. And also be done in a lower font, so that it's not like too close to the word shortcut. These are the things you nitpick about when you're working on a project night and day, all the time, every day. Ah, cool. I can actually do the same thing on both. Ah, but one of them's got a monster and one doesn't. Okay. It's like playing, well, this is going to be interesting. Let's see if I can actually pull this off. Like, dual controlling, like, my character across two different screens. Whoa. Well, I've done it on one of them. There we go. Okay, I just want to go to the first level to show you the differences in menus that are present in that. Alright, if we go... I just want to go on the first bit. Oops. So what is it? Okay, so here is the next change in the way that the interface is improved. So now AR is now changed to Archit. Now, obviously that's not still the full wording of like what it should be. This one was limitations of wording. Remember, for every single byte I get 2 plus 1. So AR, the maximum I could do is 5. But the actual full word that needs to be there is architecture, which is too big for even that so I can't even put that in. And even if I could, it would flow a little bit too far to the right near the character portraits of like these people here. So again, until I've got like a lower font I can use, it's gonna have to stay like that. The actual architecture menu is vastly improved, just more in the wording. Okay, so now Reno is changed to modify. CHKFL is changed to check floor. Building materials, slight bump up. Init C is changed to init corridors, which is the naming in the previous games. Del block is changed, well, Del BL is changed to erase block. RM.R is erase area. Del all is changed to erase floor. We go into these screens. Now, as you can see, we've got much more fuller names for all of the different room materials that you can do. And this changes based on if you're in a corridor or in a room. So currently we're in a corridor, so all the names we got here, and they have much better tooltip descriptions. When I say tooltip descriptions, I'm referring to this area here and this area here. Okay, so some are better than others, Some are exactly the same, some are a bit better. Okay, so we've got those improvements for corridors. again, I'm gonna have to do dual controlling. I need to get into a room and hopefully there's no monsters. Ooh. Okay. Now, if we want to go back into our architecture menu and we wish to do some stuff and we want to modify. Again, improvements here. So as you can see, the names of the rooms, in some cases it's just better formatting. In other cases, there's slightly more flavor text. Like for example, SR is now the full word study rather than SR. And it actually says a room full of books. And so on as we go through these. So some of these I've gone in back and I've compared with Dungeon Maker 1 and 2 to see what they named the rooms. And so where I was going with different wording, I've now improved it. And, you know, my take on this thing is it's not for me to go and change the names of things. So if it was named something in Dungeon Maker 1 and 2, I'm going to call it that in this as well. So, but as you can see, these are much better. You're still gonna see some abbreviations, but it's still much better than what it was. I'm not going to take you through every single thing, but we'll go to one more type of room. Where are we going to go? This one we're definitely going to see some combat though. This is very trippy, kind of having the same thing on two different screens and one has monsters and one doesn't. Alright, now if we go into this one, because each different type of room has different type of upgrades available for it. Like, you know, like basic small rooms have renovations like specific to those ones. 2-door small rooms, which is what we're in right now, they have their own. Large rooms have their own renovations, and so on and so on and so on. But anyway, we go in this. Same thing again. Just basically like, you know, just better wording. More full of words. Better formatting. And so on. And so that exists for all the different rooms. I've done that for every single building material that's currently unlocked in the game. Just trying to think what else. In some cases, I've updated the notes to screen that happen. I'm trying to think. I think that one's the same. Okay, if I try that in this one. See, pick range to CLR, pick the range to arrays. So, again, quality of life improvements. And yeah, I think that's about it. Everything else that's going on, I mean, I spent a lot of time going through the architecture menu. Most of the like, in many cases, what I had already was damn fine, like, good enough. Just like in certain cases, I could just add more words to give it just a bit more oomph, you know? Like a better description. I think, yeah, these things weren't done. The rest would take me too long to go and show you. I've also gone in and changed these as well. See, like WD rather than wind.dr. So this is another limitation at the moment. Now, where I'm referring to, if you don't know what I'm talking about, is up here and up here. This is the target information. So in the dungeon, there's various things that have like a target text up on the top left corner. So I've gone in and translated, well, not translated, but expanded all of those. Still abbreviations, but better abbreviations. So rather than w.d, now it's win.dr, which is win door. It was just a case of I didn't have enough letters that I could use. Because if you remember, 3 bytes gives me 7. So 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why we got wind.dr. That's 7 across. Think of it like a crossword in a sense. All right, so that is the basics. There's lots more that I've done, but it would take me too long to find it to show you. So any of the pop-ups that happen when you try to use different things, I've expanded those. If you try to use keys in dungeons and things, I've expanded the words there. And that's the main thing. Alright, so that's it as far as showing you stuff in the game goes. Next is going to be some technical info. How to actually apply the patches. So this one's a little bit different to how it was before. Now, what you need to do, so in the next demo release and in all the ones going forward, it's going to be from the command line that you need to do it to actually apply the changes. Now, this is going to require you to install a few things so that you can can install it. The first thing you're going to need is Python 3. So if you go to a website, download Python 3, install that on your computer. So Python 3. You need to get that. The next thing you need to do, once you've done that, you need to install what's called Pillow. It's like an add-on thing. So that when we do these patch updates, that it'll actually work. Otherwise, when you go to do the first one, which is this run right here, build.py, if you go to run it, it'll say don't have Pillow or something like that. So you need to install that in order for it to work. Give me a sec. So if you can see what's on my screen here, this is the command you need to install the Pillow. So you'll need to do Python, this one I'm highlighting. So Python space -m space pip space install space hyphen upgrade pip. And that should install that for you. Once you have that ready to go, there's some technical stuff you need to do. So you're going to need to let me get to the right location first. Now, where you have this installed is going to be different depending on how you have things set up. Now, so you're going to need to have a whole bunch of files in order to get this going. The first thing you're going to need is this file here, which I'll have in the zip. These other two I'm not going to have. Okay? So what you need to do, take the eboot.bin that's in the zip that's included in this demo update. Put this in this location. So it needs to be in the ISO folder, Okay? The next one, this one here that I've named Nanatama _VWF _final.iso. That is the untranslated ROM. So I'm not going to supply you with that. You need to get that from elsewhere. Okay? This other one is what's created afterwards, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, once you have the untranslated ROM, just change its name to match that. Okay? Once you have those two things, you are basically good to go. So I've made a little batch file, which I'll tell you about in a sec. But the first thing you need to do is to apply the updates. So, actually build this so that it creates that extra file. So, if you see what I've got here, so build.py. If I do that, it's going to run this. This hooks in all the enhancements. Not all the ones I showed you, because a lot of that's in the next bit. But this is setting up the variable width fonts and stuff like that. Okay? Once you've done that, you've done the first part. Now, the second is the files that I've done since getting the inserter. And that is, you need to do this. See, I've made a batch file called applyupdates.bat. You need to run this. Now, what that'll do is this. going to run all this. This may take a little while for you. Not that long though. I'm saying this will probably take like about 30 seconds or something. Like so. And once this is finished, you are basically good to go. So if I go to that once you finish this, see writing ISO Nanatama _ VWF _ stable dot ISO. That's this one here. You'll have that after running it. So you may even actually have it after doing this first bit as well. But every time that you apply my extra changes that I've done, it's going to make a new version of this. And it's going to be a fresh one every single time. The way you test it, go in here. In my case, you don't have to have this folder structure. But in my case, I've got it sitting here. Like this. And I'll show you what will it look like if you load the wrong one. You come here, you see these names. Basically, as long as you see them exactly as I got them here, and your menu looks like this, all those kind of things, then you've got this good to go, and you've got this as far as I've done. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Now, if you load the wrong one, I'll show you what's going to look like. So if we go to load this one, this is the untranslated ROM. It's just going to be the same thing in Japanese. It'll be this as it originally was. Or at least it should, anyway. Yeah, so if you see this, then you've loaded the wrong one. Okay? I hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say. So remember, load that one. Just doing it a second time. And it should look like this. You see this? You are good to go. And you'll have all the enhancements that I have done. Okay? Alright, if you require any additional assistance with getting this to install, please comment on this video and I will provide more detailed instructions. I've included this section at the end of the video, going through it in depth of like what you need to do to run it. So the main thing is from the command line, let me just close that. The main thing is just remembering from the command line, build.py to run this thing in the first place. Once you've installed Python 3 and Pillow. Or it might be pip. I think it's Pillow. I'm pretty sure it's Pillow that you need to get. Then once you've done the build, apply updates. Okay? And that will apply all the text files of insertion stuff that I did after receiving the inserter stuff. Okay? Do that and you are good to go. Alright? But as I said, any problems, please comment on this video and I'm more than happy to run you through exactly what you need to do in steps in text. Okay? But I hope that made sense what I'm running you through. Yeah. So going forward, I'm just basically until the other person gets back to me, well, what I'm just going to continue doing is playing through the game and translating what's done. What it means is, so for that side of things, I have to do things like the original way, going into Crystal Tile 2 and doing hex editing. And then once I've done that, then doing the same, and then I've got the addresses to where to point things to, and then doing it again in my text files to do the enhanced, expanded versions. So it's like double the work. But, it's worth it for the net positive. And at this point in time, there's not a whole heap of the game left. I'm estimating. I'm guessing though, but we'll see how things pan out. All right. Yeah, so I've been meaning to do this video for a while. It was just I wanted to get things fully done up until the point that I was up to, and then maybe just a little bit further to get a little bit of extra stuff translated, you know, and expanded on after that. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. This one's gone a bit longer than my usual Devblog videos, just because there was a lot more that I wanted to go through this time, to go through it in detail of like what I've been working on the last couple of months, and yeah, it's been extremely time consuming. Like even just getting the weapons done, like all the gear, that took like 2 weeks by itself, and then another probably week or two just to do the monster names and everything, and it took a very long time before I was actually up to a point where I was actually playing the game again, and you know, and then you know, and then we started to go from there. Translating the targeting info was like the last major thing I was doing, and then after that, it was just playing it and then just trying to see if there's anything else that you know needed updating. If you're starting a whole new playthrough, I will mention that a lot of the stuff that's on that part of the game with targeting I haven't expanded it because I totally go off of what I can see and what I can test model. So that stuff, I'm saving that because I'm gonna have to do another playthrough of this game again. I'm saving that for when I've got full lowercase support and preferably when we have the original game's font. When I've got that, I'm just going to go through and do 100% of everything. It's just that the time investment required, I want to, and well, the time investment that is required even just to beat this game is massive compared to the previous ones. So I want to do this properly and do it right. And also, I don't want to be spending years on this game. So either way, I'm going to play through this game to the end and do this with what I have available to me. If the tools become available before I get to that point, then from that point forward, it'll be done with the better. If I make it all the way to the end of the game and then later hear back from Watch After and stuff, then that's when I'll do the second playthrough. But not till then. My second playthrough won't be until then. Okay. So that's about it for now for this latest Devblog. So what the next one is like will be very interesting. So either it's just going to be me showcasing more stuff that's translated, or it might be lowercase support and all that stuff. So I don't know yet. We shall see. But I hope you have enjoyed this far more detailed step through. I know that translation projects probably don't even go to this kind of stuff, but I've got a bit more of a games dev kind of background. I've made games. I've got games on Steam that I made and things, and so I got more of like a programming background, and I don't know. I'm just passionate about this project, and I just want to do this my own kind of way. So hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next Devblog where we dive even deeper into Nanatama Chronicle of Dungeon Maker. Oh, and lastly, if you'd like to support this project, as usual, you can. There's multiple ways you can do that. Firstly, you can subscribe to the channel on YouTube, which I'd be massively be massively appreciative. I'm chasing, to get 1,000 subscribers someday. Be nice if I ever did that. That's fine if I don't, but it'd just be nice. Or you can support the project on Patreon. You can find links in the description of this video where to get access to that. Alright guys, have a good one.